Hello everyone. In today's video, I would like to speak about, oh my god, I'm so greasy. Well, I did just come from work, so whatever. Okay, listen. So, in today's video, I would like to speak about the importance of disclosing your family history to your children. Now, my audience is not made up of that many parents, I don't think. It's more of like my age or younger, so you don't have kids yet. But when you do, remember this video because it is so very important. Don't be a jackass to your children. Just saying. So basically, if you have been watching my videos, you know that I'm having like a lot of problems right now, that I've been going to the doctor over and over and over and over and going to getting like different tests. And yeah, so all of my diagnoses so far, which isn't really that many, I'm not like dying or anything, but they've been coming as surprises to me because I feel like I take really good care of myself. You know, I try really hard to eat the right food, except for ramen when I do my videos, and like exercise when I can. I've always been active, unless I was too sick to actually be active. And so it's just like, I don't expect anything to be wrong with me, you know? And so, you know, when I go to the doctor because something is wrong with me, it's just like, what's going on? There shouldn't be anything wrong with me. And so I get my diagnoses, and I tell my parents, and they like brush it off. Like, for instance, right? I have high blood pressure, but that's kind of in the air. The doctors are not sure if I have high blood pressure or not, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to assume that I have high blood pressure and treat myself as if I had high blood pressure. Doctors aren't sure. Again, we don't know for sure at this moment. We're working on it. My thyroid. You know, I had the problem when I was younger, and then I didn't have the problem, and now I have the problem again. And it's like, well, that's weird. I thought that I grew out of this problem, and now I have POTS, which I knew about all of my life, but, you know, whatever. The blood work, I didn't mention in my blood work video, but the doctor did say, like, my blood sugar was kind of on the high side, which he felt was kind of unusual, and I was like, oh, you know, that probably was because I spent the 3 days before my blood work eating nothing but fruit, because I could. I wasn't like thinking about it that way, but I was like, ooh, fruit is on sale, and I spent like $50 on fruit, and I ate nothing but fruit for like days beforehand. But I might have high blood sugar, who knows? When I was younger, I had like all these reproductive problems, and I had a lot of ovarian cysts. So I always had to constantly go get ultrasounds to make sure that they didn't get too big and had to be removed. Surprise, I guess, but I had always really bad menstrual cycles. The cramping, the bleeding was for longer than it should have been. And so, yeah, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with it, right? So basically what I'm trying to get at is all of these things, plus the things that I don't know about yet, is kind of like, huh, that's weird. I wonder why that happened, but sure, I suppose. And the problem, the root of the problem, is that my parents never told me that I would be predisposed to these issues. And it's not like I've never asked them, and it's not like I've never been present when signing the papers when I was younger, when you go to the doctor's office, like a new one, and they make you fill out that paperwork, and one of the questions is, do you have any family history? And my mom has always been like, no. And I was always the one filling out the paperwork because my mother does not really read English or speak English that well. So I would have to ask her and she would have to tell me. And she always said no. So now that I am like 1/3 through my life, like almost middle age, she freaking like sits me down because I've been like, hey, I might have this, I might have this, I have this, I have this, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, you know, high blood pressure runs in our family. Your dad has it, I have it, grandma has it, grandpa has it, all of your aunts and uncles have it. So of course, it's not surprising that you have it. And this is after she like freaked out about me having high blood pressure. She's just like, it's because you eat ramen noodles. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not because I eat ramen noodles. And she's like, no, it is because your diet is terrible and you don't exercise. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure my diet's not terrible and I do exercise. And then she goes on and she was just like, and you know, like, I had tumors, your aunt had tumors, your grandma died from cancer, and your other aunt had tumors. And I was just like, and they're like ovarian like tumors, and I was just like, oh God, okay, well that explains the ovarian cysts, I suppose. And then she was just like, yeah, and your grandma, she had her thyroid removed a couple of years ago, and like, by now you're probably thinking like, why don't you know this? Like, these are your family members and you should know the things that are happening to them, especially your grandparents. But honestly, they're all in Taiwan. I have not gone to Taiwan in over, I think like 12 to 15 years. It's been a very long time since I've gone there. I have really nothing in common. The language barrier is a little difficult because I don't speak Taiwanese, and I barely speak Mandarin, so it's not like I can communicate with my family members if I wanted to, and they don't speak English. So of course the only news that I get is from my mother or my father, and there's no news about them. So like, how am I supposed to know that grandma had cancer and well, I knew that she died, but how was I supposed to know that like all of my aunts and uncles and grandpas and grandmas have high blood pressure? And how am I supposed to know that everybody had like ovarian or like uterine tumors? I don't. And then like my mom is like, oh, you know, your dad and your grandpa are diabetic. And I'm like, okay, you know, now I'm more worried that my blood sugar is high because I didn't know beforehand that they were diabetic. So it's like, hello, are you like, oh my God, like so stupid. It's just like, why wouldn't you disclose this information? Like, I understand when your child is like small and you don't want to burden your child at like, I don't know, like 7 or like 10 or even like 13 with this information, because you don't want your child to be worrying about the fact that they might drop dead soon. And like, sure, like adulthood, there's a great time to be telling them that, you know, you're an adult, you're 18, 20, 21, 25, 28, whatever age you deem appropriate to tell your child that, hey, by the way, you're an adult now, you really should take care of yourself, no more McDonald's, no more junk food because XYZ. But it's like, it is inappropriate, absolutely inappropriate to wait until this is diagnosed, this is diagnosed, this is diagnosed, this is diagnosed, to be like, yeah, by the way, you know, everybody in the family also has this problem. I should probably let you know now. It's just like, well, if you let me know beforehand, this wouldn't be such a big deal, but now it's just like, I'm sick and I'm mad. And it's just like, how are you going to also like just deny it? And even like before, when I asked, I was like, are you sure we don't have any family history of anything? Before I started getting all these tests, my mom was like, no, nothing at all, nothing. And I was just like, Not even cancer, because I knew my grandma died of cancer when I was 12, and she's just like, no, absolutely not. And it's just like, okay, listen, if someone died of cancer or someone had cancer in your family, that automatically means that cancer runs in your family. And so I used that question to try to like trap her into admitting that we have a family history of something, and she still said no. And today she finally sat me down and she's like, yeah, we have a family history of this and this and this and this and this. All the things that I have been diagnosed with and more things that I have been diagnosed with, but there's no family history, which is fine. I understand that everybody is an individual and things happen to you that might not have happened to your family, but it is so messed up that you're just not gonna say anything until like it happens. Like, what if I had cancer and my mom just didn't say anything and then she was like, oh, by the way, everybody has cancer. You have cancer too. Like, that's so fucked up. So anyway, this is pretty much my rant because my battery is dying. Do not keep your medical history from your child. Do not keep family medical history from your child. If something runs in your family, you need to tell your kid. Obviously, don't tell them when they're like 5 because then you could scar them for life. But when they're old enough, tell them because it is so important to let them know if something runs in the family so it's not a surprise later and they can take the precautionary measures to get screened, to get checked, so they know that they're at risk and they can just do the things to combat what could, you know, like exacerbate, whatever, to make the problem worse, okay? Like, I would have probably taken care of myself better. I probably would have eaten less ramen noodles. I don't know. Like, I would have like done other things differently if I knew like I had high blood pressure, if I was prone to diabetes, if I would do all these things, but I didn't know and I just lived my life the way that I wanted to. I'll buy it like pretty healthily, but still like I would have had that information in my mind and I would have been thinking about it before I made like stupid decisions such as like eating a lot of ramen noodles and eating 3 days worth of fruit and eating like nothing but pasta and bread. Anyway, like seriously. Alright guys, so my camera is really about to die. So this is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you guys next time. Bye!